Final alert from Archangel Michael. He is crying out your name because you're moments away from losing God's protection forever. Archangel Michael says, "Listen to me now, child of God. This is not just another message. This is your final alert, and I am trembling as I speak your name. I have been sent from the highest heavens to reach you because you are standing on the very edge of something you cannot see, but it is already reaching for your soul. You are moments away from losing God's divine protection, forever. You think this is just coincidence? No. You were meant to hear my voice right now. Heaven has been watching, waiting, hoping that you would wake up, and now, this is your last chance. I am Michael, protector of the faithful, commander of heaven's armies, and I am crying your name because the darkness that once stood far from you is now at your door. I have seen what is coming. I have seen what will happen if you turn away now. You may think you are safe, that God's shield is still around you, but I see cracks forming in that shield. Cracks caused by distractions, by sins you thought were small, by silence in your prayers. You have drifted further than you realize, and the enemy has noticed. He has whispered your name in mockery, laughing that you are too busy, too tired, too broken to fight back. But I am not laughing. I am crying out because I know what happens when a soul like yours loses the protection of the Almighty. It starts with emptiness. Then fear, then despair. The light fades slowly, and by the time you realize it's gone, you are already in the enemy's hands. Right now, heaven is still fighting for you. God is still calling. But the window is closing fast. You have been given signs, dreams that unsettled you, sudden coldness when you pray, people turning on you for no reason. These are not random. They are warnings. Child, tell me something in your heart. Have you felt distant from peace lately? Have you noticed that when you pray, it feels like the words fall to the floor instead of reaching the sky? If yes, then comment, "I still choose God." Because when you declare it, you shake the realm of darkness. Every word of faith spoken by your lips becomes a sword in the hands of angels. Do not be silent. The enemy wants your silence, because silence is surrender. Speak, even if it's just whispering, "God, I need you." That small cry is enough for heaven to send its light again. I have guarded countless souls through wars, storms, and temptations. But you are special. God has marked you for something greater than you imagine. That is why you are under attack. That is why the darkness is pressing harder. The devil doesn't fight what doesn't threaten him, he only attacks what carries power. You are powerful, but you have forgotten. You carry divine purpose, but you have let the world make you doubt it. And now, that doubt has become a doorway. I am here to close it, but I cannot do it alone. You must choose. You must stand up again in spirit and say, "I will not lose God's protection." If you can feel this message shaking your heart right now, it's because heaven is confirming it. There are no coincidences in divine timing. You were not scrolling by mistake. You were called. I can see the forces gathering: confusion, temptation, bitterness, and exhaustion. They are circling, trying to break the last layer of light around you. I see angels fighting beside you, but they are growing weary because your prayers have stopped fueling their strength. Every prayer you speak is like fire in their swords. Without your words, they fade. Speak again. Pray again. Even if your voice trembles. Child of the Almighty, hear me, this is your moment. The decision you make right now will decide if heaven remains open above you or if it closes for a long season. God never abandons anyone, but when you reject His calling again and again, the distance grows until it feels like He is gone. Don't let that happen to you. If you can still feel even a spark of faith, nurture it. Don't wait until tragedy shakes you to remember God. Don't wait until you are broken to ask for mercy. Ask now, while heaven is still whispering your name in light. Comment, I still believe, if you can feel this message is for you. Because this belief, even the smallest spark, can rebuild everything you've lost. There is still time. But not much. Heaven is counting your breaths. Every moment you delay, darkness takes another step closer. But the good news, and listen carefully, is that one moment of surrender can undo years of drifting. One tear of repentance can open heaven again. One yes from your heart can bring back the protection that's slipping away. I see you, the angels see you, and God has not turned His face away yet. But you must choose Him again, completely, without fear. Say it now, child. Whisper it, God, I choose you. And when you do, you will feel the shift. The air will change around you. The peace that has been gone for so long will begin to return. Archangel Michael says, I am crying out your name because your soul is valuable beyond measure. Don't lose the protection that countless angels have fought to maintain. Stand, speak, and let heaven surround you again. If your heart feels heavy right now, if tears are falling, that's not weakness. That's your soul waking up. Don't ignore it. That's heaven calling you home. Comment, I hear you, Michael, if your heart feels this truth. Because when you respond, heaven writes it down. The next few hours matter more than you realize. What you do after this message will shape what comes next in your destiny. Heaven is waiting for your answer. Will you choose God, or drift into silence? Choose now. Archangel Michael says, I am still here, child of God, because heaven has not stopped fighting for you. Even now, as I speak, the angels around you are battling to keep the darkness from touching your heart. I can see the glow of your spirit, faint, but still alive. And that tiny glow is what gives heaven hope. You have no idea how many times God has ordered me to shield you, even when you didn't ask. When you walked into danger, I stood between you and what was meant to destroy you. When you cried in silence, I gathered your tears and carried them to heaven's altar. And when you thought you were alone, heaven was whispering, not yet. They still belong to me. But now, child, I must tell you the truth, your faith is being tested like never before. The forces of darkness are working day and night to pull you out of the circle of divine protection. You think your struggles are random, the sudden anger, the betrayal, the exhaustion, the feeling that no prayer is answered, but all of it has been designed to weaken your trust in God. The enemy knows your heart is kind, so he sends pain through those you love. He knows you desire peace, so he fills your mind with chaos. He knows you want to believe, so he whispers, God has forgotten you. But I am here to tell you, that voice is a lie. God has never left you. He is watching, waiting for your choice. Child, let me speak to your soul directly. This is your turning point. The decisions you make in the next few days will decide what kind of life unfolds ahead. You are not cursed, you are being tested. You are not abandoned. You are being invited back into your divine position. I see a heavy fog around your path, confusion, delay, and distraction. It looks harmless, but inside that fog are shadows waiting to bind your heart. The only way through it is light, the light of truth, prayer, and surrender. I know you have prayed before and felt nothing. I know you've waited for signs and received silence. But faith isn't about feelings, it's about trust when everything is silent. God is asking you now, will you still trust me when you can't see me? If your heart says, yes, even quietly, then comment, I trust you, God. Say it with your heart. Because that small declaration opens the heavens wider than you can imagine. Every time you speak those words, I swing my sword of light against the shadows trying to touch you. Child, do not be fooled, the world around you is louder than heaven because darkness shouts, but God whispers. You must learn to quiet the noise. The moment you stop and listen, you will hear His voice again. Right now, I can see your spirit standing at a crossroad. On one side, there is the path of surrender. It looks narrow, but it leads to peace, protection, and purpose. On the other side, the path of self-reliance. It looks easier, but it leads to emptiness. I am not here to command you, I am here to warn you. Once the protection of God lifts, it is not easily restored. You think you can walk without Him, but every step away from the light makes your soul colder. You will start to notice strange things, dreams that trouble your heart, sudden loss of peace, even people around you changing. These are signs that heaven's covering is fading. Do not let it fade, child. Do not let pride or guilt stop you from running back to the Father. He is not angry with you, He is aching for you. I have heard His voice speak your name with such love that it would break your heart to hear it. He says, they are mine. They have wandered, but they are still mine. You are not beyond forgiveness. You are not too far gone. But time is running out for delay. You have heard this message because heaven has decided to give you one more chance. One more warning. One more invitation. The truth is, the spiritual world is shifting rapidly. Light and darkness are drawing lines, and neutrality will no longer exist. You cannot walk in between anymore. Either you stand in the light, or you will be swallowed by shadow. I don't say this to frighten you, I say it because I have seen it. Many who once stood strong are falling because they chose comfort over conviction. But you, child, are still being given a chance to return. You are chosen. You carry a mark of divine calling that hell itself recognizes, that's why you've been attacked so fiercely. Do not mistake warfare for abandonment. When you are under heavy attack, it is because heaven has placed something powerful inside you. The devil does not fight the empty, he fights the chosen. So hear me now. The very pain you've been cursing is proof that you are still valuable to God. The tears, the rejection, the loneliness, they are all signs that heaven has not given up on you. You are still being shaped for purpose. If your heart feels this truth, comment, "I am chosen." Because saying it out loud aligns your spirit with heaven's truth again. Child, you cannot lose what God has ordained for you, but you can delay it by resisting His call. The protection that once surrounded you is dimming, not because God wants to punish you, but because He respects your choices. He will never force Himself on you. Love cannot exist without free will. That is why this message is your final alert. The moment you read this, heaven's eyes are on you. The angels stand ready, waiting for your response. Will you let your faith rise again, or will you let it fade completely? I want you to know, even now, I am crying your name before the throne. I have seen what could happen if you continue down this path. I have seen doors closed that were once open. I have seen the enemy write plans for your downfall, but I also saw a light from heaven interrupt them. That light was you when you chose to pray, even for a moment. You don't know how much that prayer changed in the spiritual realm. Never underestimate a single prayer. When you whispered for help, I drew my sword. When you said, "God, please," I was dispatched to guard you. But when you stopped praying, the battle weakened. You must start again. You must pray again. Even if it's just one sentence, "God, I need your protection." That simple cry rebuilds your armor. Archangel Michael says, "You have no idea how much heaven loves you. You were never meant to walk alone." The storms you face are not proof that God has left you, they are proof that you are worth defending. But this defense can only hold if you let it. Heaven cannot protect what refuses light. Child, please, come back into the light. If this message touches your heart, if you feel that tug deep in your soul, do not scroll away. That feeling is heaven speaking directly to you. Comment, "I return to the light." That act of faith will be recorded before the throne of God. The truth is simple, you are moments away from losing what you cannot afford to lose, God's covering, His shield, His presence. Do not let the world distract you from eternity. Heaven is still waiting. The angels are still fighting. And I, Archangel Michael, will not stop crying your name until you answer. This is your moment. The next part of your story depends on your next word. Say it with faith, "God, I am yours." Archangel Michael says, "I am still speaking because heaven refuses to give up on you." Even now, as I whisper your name before the throne, the sound echoes across dimensions. The Father has not withdrawn His love from you, but His protection, His shield of divine covering, grows weaker with every step you take away from Him. You are walking close to the edge, child. You don't see it yet, but you are moments from a fall that could change everything. You must listen carefully now, because this is not just about comfort, this is about destiny. I can see what happens if you delay. I see a season of confusion, of doors that used to open but suddenly close. I see the enemy placing traps, emotional traps, financial ones, even relational, all meant to make you question your worth. I see shadows whispering, it's too late. But I tell you now, it is not too late. God's mercy does not end, but your window of protection can close if you walk out of it willingly. That is why I am crying your name. Because I know you are tired. I know you've been faithful before and felt disappointed. I know you've looked up at the sky and asked, "Why me, Lord?" And yet, here you are, still listening, still seeking. That means your spirit is not lost. It means heaven still sees you. Child of light, let me remind you of something sacred. The angels fight hardest for those who have forgotten how strong they are. You think you're weak, but I see strength in you that terrifies the darkness. You think your prayers don't matter, but they've already stopped storms you never saw. You think you're alone, but every time you whisper God's name, legions move at His command. Do not believe the voice that tells you your time is over. That voice is not heaven. That is the sound of fear wearing the mask of reason. The enemy always comes with half-truths. He says, "You've failed too much," but forgets to mention that grace was designed for failure. He says, "You've sinned too deeply," but hides the fact that mercy runs deeper. Heaven is not angry with you, heaven is calling you. If your heart feels this call, comment, "I hear you." Because when you confess that out loud, it is like lighting a candle in the dark, the darkness must move back. Child, I see your memories. I see the pain that has shaped you. The betrayal that made you question love, the disappointment that made you question prayer, and the loneliness that made you question if heaven still remembers you. Yes, heaven remembers. I remember. I was there. When you cried in the night, I stood by your bed, guarding you from despair. When you said, "I can't do this anymore," I whispered strength into your spirit. When you almost gave up, I pushed away the spirit of death that tried to take you. You don't realize how many times your life was saved because of divine intervention. You were meant to hear this now, because the same darkness that tried to end you then is watching for your silence now. You cannot go quiet. You cannot stop believing. Every second you stay silent, the enemy writes lies about your destiny. But when you open your mouth and speak light, those lies burn. Say it now, "I still belong to God." Say it even if you don't feel it. Because faith doesn't depend on feelings, it creates them. I must tell you something that heaven showed me. I saw a vision. A light above you, like a crown, but dim. Around it, shadows were circling, waiting for the moment it goes completely out. The moment that happens, you will lose the shield that has protected your home, your peace, and your mind. That is why I am pleading with you now, don't let your light fade. You have been chosen for something greater. You have been called to carry God's light in a time when the world has forgotten Him. That is why your battles have been so intense, because your breakthrough will shake the darkness around others. The enemy is terrified of your awakening. He knows that if you stand again in full faith, you will bring others back to the light. You will heal hearts, inspire faith, and release chains through your story. That is why you've been attacked since childhood. The devil saw your future and tried to destroy it before it began. But he failed. You are still here. That means God's hand never left you. If you feel this truth in your heart, even a little, comment, the light still lives in me. Let heaven hear you declare it. Because that declaration tells all of creation that your spirit refuses to surrender. Listen closely, there is something you must understand. Losing God's protection doesn't mean God hates you. It means you've stepped outside His covering by letting doubt, sin, or fear guide your steps. But one moment of surrender can bring it back instantly. One tear of repentance can open heaven's gates again. Do not wait for a tragedy to wake you. Do not wait for loss to remind you that God was your shelter. Come back now, while heaven is still calling gently. I can feel the Father's sorrow. His love for you burns like the sun, but His heart aches watching you suffer needlessly. He's saying, if they would only come home, would heal them completely. You may have walked away, but He has been walking beside you the entire time, waiting for the moment you'd turn and see Him again. Archangel Michael says, I am not speaking to scare you. I am speaking to awaken you. Because I know what happens when the protection of God is gone. I've seen souls who waited too long. They didn't lose God's love, they lost their peace. They walked through storms that could have been avoided. I don't want that for you. Heaven is still open over you right now. I can see the glow above your name in heaven's book, faint, but not gone. You can still restore it. All you have to do is say yes. Say it in your heart, yes, God, I return. That is all it takes for the angels to begin rebuilding the walls of light around you. If you are crying right now, if your heart feels heavy, that's the Spirit moving. Don't hold back your tears, they are sacred. Each one is a seed that heaven will use to restore what you've lost. Child, I know you are afraid. I know you've made mistakes. But heaven does not measure you by your failure, it measures you by your willingness to rise. You can still rise. You can still be covered. You can still walk in divine protection. If you want heaven to hear your surrender, comment, I choose to rise again. Because when you do, I will write your name in the light before God's throne. Archangel Michael says, the battle is not over. The final moment has not yet passed. But it's close, very close. You are standing at the edge of your turning point. The next time you say yes or no to God, it will shape the next chapter of your life. Do not choose silence. Do not let the world distract you from eternity. Every second counts. Heaven is waiting for your answer.